He needs water, the one who has just arrived, dry clothes, and a warm welcome from a friendly host. And if he can get it, a chance to listen and be listened to.
I like this stanza. One, it's interesting because the last one started with he needs a fire, and this one is he needs water. And if we remember from the Voluspa, actually I don't know if they go into detail or if it's in the Prose Edda, but fire and ice, or water, is the necessary components for the creation of, everything. So I like that the themes are consistent throughout these myths. They knew what they're talking about, and sort of they actually had a system of symbols that's fairly consistent. And it's true. I mean, everyone needs water, so it's a very basic need, and that you die in a few days rather than without water. Whereas like food, you can go 2 weeks, kind of thing, and
right.
But and then showing to be a friendly host. You're providing shelter and a chance to listen and be listened to. And that, to me, shows it's an exchange of ideas and an exchange of wisdom. So if someone has come back from a journey, they're going to be able to share what they've learned. And they're going to have missed things that went on in the area that they label as known. They're going to have missed things that will chip away at what they know of the area, so that they'll be able to reorient themselves in the known area and bring back knowledge of unknown area that they can begin orienting this person, their host, to that. So it's a very valuable exchange of ideas. And of course, just think of yourself, when you visit people, the first thing you ask is hey, how's it going? And then sort of talk about what's gone on in your journey in your life sort of recently, and things develop from there. It's important, but it's also one of the most common things that humans do when they see someone they haven't seen in a bit. It might not even be, it might be just like your spouse goes out for, get groceries, and they come back and, how's getting groceries? As simple and as common as that, but there's actually value to it that we sort of take for granted.
Yeah, that's a good point, that we take it for granted. I mean, this is incredibly descriptive of how trust is built and how friendships are built, but also that's a very good point that it's continual. This is something that's going to happen if you're meeting someone for the first time, or if you're meeting someone for the 100th time, right? And it's just something that's going to keep on going. It's just that bond of reciprocal exchange of ideas. I mean, that in and of itself is a common thread here for how you just exchange wisdom and knowledge. And I mean, there's huge emphasis placed on that discussion. We'll see different contexts of this discussion and kind of how that plays out for people going forward here. I did want to just sort of make a note to a story that the good Dr. Peterson mentions at least once, I think, Jordan Peterson, who we'll talk a little bit about more at the end. He tells a story about, not necessarily a story, but the idea is that in order to make a friend, a great way to do it is to ask for a favor, which most reasonable people will give. If it wasn't something ridiculous, hey, can I borrow your phone, make a call, something sure. Like that. That's less relevant these days, but I don't know why that's my example. But then you're obligated in reverse, and that's the point, is to create that obligation upon yourself to that person, and then they are fully able to call in that chit if they would like, and that's just something to build bonds of trust. And so in this particular case, I think it's applicable here, because this is just how the guest gets to know the host, and vice versa, and how they just build a bond of trust. And I mean, the reciprocal thing, the favor that the guest is asking for is for all these things, but then the reciprocal side of it is that the guest has now received these things from the host, and the host should be able to expect equally in return later if he's ever in the same position, something like that.
Definitely.
So it all ties together.